What's up, marketing agency owners? Welcome to the Agency Overhaul podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Baker, and I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Peter Coppinger. Peter is the developer, CEO, and co-founder behind Teamwork.com, the leading project management platform built specifically for agencies and businesses that do client work. A former agency owner himself from 1999 to 2010, Peter ran an agency alongside Teamwork.com co-founder Daniel Mackey, where they built sophisticated software applications for organizations like Pfizer and Lilly. During this time, Peter gained an understanding of the needs of client work teams and an obsession with customer satisfaction that he's carried through in everything he does with Teamwork.com to this day. Peter is a thought leader in the agency space and is on a mission to help agencies become more efficient, organized, profitable, and happy. Peter's an awesome guy and really knowledgeable about agency growth and project management. So without further ado, let's get to the interview. What's up, agency owners? We have Peter Coppinger in the house. Peter, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Ryan, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay. I have been looking forward to this conversation for a long time. Anyone who has talked to me about marketing agency operations is no doubt aware. I am a rabid Teamwork fan. And Peter is the CEO of Teamwork.com. And Peter, tell us a little bit about how you got started with Teamwork.com, what's gone on through the last 15, 16 years, and where you guys are going in the future.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. Right. So if I could take you back to 1999, met my co-founder Dan in college, and just think the internet was just happening, right? So we started a web agency straight out of college, no idea what we were doing. And for years we made all the mistakes, right? But eventually, after many years of making every single mistake, we eventually wisened up, we learned a lot, and we eventually became one of Ireland's most successful agencies. We were in with Pfizer, doing lots of big projects for lots of multinationals. But we were struggling as we got bigger. We were just drowning in client work, and even though we were taking on bigger projects, taking on more people, we felt like the hamster in the wheel. We just couldn't get ahead, couldn't get visibility. There was so much noise. It was just so hard. And we tried every project management app under the sun, and they were all just too simple or too complex, and just none of them were built for client work. And we were building pretty sophisticated apps for our clients every day. And that's one day we got the epiphany. Well, what are we doing? Why don't we just build what we need? So we did. We built Teamwork as a side project. We dedicated one day a week to working on it. We used it to run our own agency. So we built it for our agency. Then quickly our side project, which we launched as teamworkpm.net, which is awful, it just took off, right? And eventually, a year later, there was more revenue coming in from this side project that was our complete passion than there was from our actual agency. So we eventually gifted our entire agency away to friends of ours. Wow. Who are now Ireland's biggest digital agency and going on to be the UK's biggest agency, and still doing really well. And we went all in with Teamwork. Somewhere along the way, we bought Teamwork.com for every penny we had, and that just hockey sticked our growth. We went on a bit of an interesting journey. For a few years, we had every industry in the world using Teamwork, and we used to think that was a good thing. So we had mining companies in Australia and manufacturing companies in Texas. We, as a bootstrap company, we were trying to be everything to everyone. Then one day we stopped and we looked at all our customers, and we looked at the product we had, and we realized that our biggest and best customers are all agencies. So we went, what are we doing trying to be everything to everyone? Why don't we just focus on our sweet spot, what we're good at, where we started? It just makes sense. We built great features for agencies, and we went all in on agencies. And then we stopped and we looked at the agency space a couple of years ago, and we realized agencies are massively underserved. So they're either using really simplistic generic project management tools, or they're using really complicated project portfolio management tools built for the accountants. So when we had this epiphany, there's nobody giving agencies retainers and budgets and all the sophistication you need to scale all on one platform, we realized there's a huge opportunity here for us to be the best platform in the world for agencies in the world. We took on 70 million in funding, and we're on a mission to deliver the world what it is craving, the best platform in the world to scale your agency. And the other thing we're trying to do is, based on our experience, not just give you the software, we're trying to give you a blueprint on how to scale. So when you come to our platform, you're typically struggling with a lot of different pain points. We understand those pain points. We quickly solve those pain points for you, but then we bring you on a journey to success.
Yeah. Oh man. So that awesome story. I've heard so many success stories that have that similar arc of like, we saw some success, we were doing everything for everyone. We realized that we could serve one particular niche better than anybody else, and so we doubled down and focused on that, cut out all the noise, and suddenly it was just boom, explosion
Yeah,
of
yeah.
growth.
And so much easier. Instead of us
Yeah.
trying to be everything to everyone, it's like we're working with agencies and professional service companies. We're super clear on what we need to do. We're super clear on where they're underserved in the market, and we're super excited that we really think we can own this space.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, from my experience, you already own it in my mind. Not get all gushy and everything about it. It's the number one platform I refer people to.
No, thank you.
And so let's tackle. There's so much to cover in even just what you've described so far. Let's start by focusing on those initial pain points that we take out
Yeah,
when somebody jumps onto teamwork.com for the first time, starts using it. Maybe they're in the trial, maybe
yep.
they jump into whatever plan fits their team size. How does it initially tackle the pain they're feeling?
Right. So the first thing I have to say is that almost all of our customers are coming from using existing project management tools.
Mm.
Right. So there's a typical journey you go on. You start with email, then maybe spreadsheets, then simple tools like Trello or Basecamp or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then you might end up on something like an Asana. And then what we find when customers come to us is that they are just struggling because the tool they're using has a lack of depth because it just wasn't built for agency work.
Mm-hmm.
They're having difficulty managing everything, the workload, the projects, the invoices, the time logs, the deadlines, and more, right? And we hear there's just too much manual work delivering client projects. They can't see the wood from the trees. Worst of all, there's money slipping through the cracks, right? You're doing extras for clients. You're not fully utilized with your staff. You're not confident in scaling. And they've no good system for managing budgets of projects and retainer work. And they're also using a mishmash of different expensive tools with very brittle and basic integrations.
Mm.
Right. So that's the pain.
Yeah.
So when you come to Teamwork, first of all, we provide great project management software, so you continue to deliver great client work. But then we take you on a journey, and one of the first things we do is we get you to start tracking time. So we've built in time tracking, and we help you manage your team utilization, your time utilization, and your profitability. Kind of takes care of itself from there. So you're already kind of to a great place. From there, we help you kind of see the big picture, bird's eye view of all your projects and help you manage them at a high level. From there, we take you to getting organized with our templates feature. So we want you to have templates for everything. And once you're there and you're in a pretty good place, but then we take you to the next level by helping you manage your profitability and then ultimately provide you with a full suite to manage everything from taking on the work, doing the work, supporting the work, documenting the work with CRM, help desk, knowledge base, and integrated chat.
Yeah. There's so much depth here, and it blows my mind. So that this ability to transfer from one platform into teamwork.com, and you have this usually pretty smooth transition. It's not all apples to apples because there's not always the same functionality. But generally, from my experience so far in helping agencies transition, there's been a nice, easy transition with minimal, adjustment. But then there's so much more. Where do you find that it's usually best for an agency to start expanding into the additional features that teamwork.com can provide when coming from a platform like Asana or Monday?
Yeah, so the first thing is we recommend that you just come in and play with Teamwork, right? Just don't bring any data in, just play with it, get a feel for it. When you're ready, I would actually delete your existing trial and just start another trial, right? So first create one just to play and throw away, right? But we have importers, as you say, for just about every popular project management tool, right? So the importer will probably take you a long step of the way towards continuing getting all your data in there. All the project management tools are all, we have really good project management, but then we have a lot of sophistication on top of that. And it can be one of the things we're trying to do is make it a kind of seamless transition to the platform, right? So we actually don't recommend that you dive into some of our more complex features. We recommend you kind of start with time tracking.
Yeah.
And then we want you to, once you kind of got time tracking in a good place, we want you to start looking at your team utilization. So that's basically you generally want your frontline workers spending 65 to some firms want 85% of their time to be spent on billable client work, whether that's projects or retainer work or whatever. As long as you have your frontline workers spending whatever makes sense for you, 75% say of their time on billable work, you're going to be in a pretty good place. So that alone kind of gets you to a pretty good level. Then we want you to look at templates. And we want you to look at templates next for a logical reason, because we have this really nice estimated time feature, but it's a bit of a pain to use unless you use the templates feature first, right? So we really have this like strong plan for your success. And the good news is it's all documented in a free book we give away, The Ultimate Guide to Scaling Your Agency. So we kind of break the book into 3 phases: deliver, grow, scale. Deliver is literally just deliver client work. Just get the client work delivered on time, on budget. The grow phase is really all about getting organized. So it's all these things I talked about. And moving on to templates, we want you to have templates for everything. We want you to have templates for onboarding staff, for offboarding staff, for your internal processes, for your different types of major projects, for your SEO work, for your large websites, your small websites. You should have a template for everything, but we recommend that you start simple. And that you just start with a couple of simple templates for the most obvious things. Onboarding and offboarding staff is a pretty easy one to get going with because everyone kind of has to do it. And there's always a checklist of things you want to do. But we recommend whatever's your most popular type of project, just create a high level template for that. And over time, you can streamline the template and make it more and more sophisticated. Once you've got that to a good place, we'll move you on to estimates, budgets, and profitability. And once you're there, that will really give you the confidence to be able to scale your agency in confidence, to be able to see, when you're going to have capacity to take on bigger projects, when you need to hire people, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. So I imagine everybody's going to want to go immediately toward the profitability and the scaling and okay, well, I've got my agency and we know everything, that we're doing. We deliver client work just fine. We're pretty organized. We've got all these templates in place. So I have another interview on the podcast where I spoke with David Jenyns of Systemology, or the author of Systemology, and he these interviews are going to go just hand in hand. They're going to be so good together, I think. So he actually discussed having different kind of a different process or SOP or I would say a task list in this case, or a template based on the seniority of your of whoever's doing the task or the experience level. So I have incredibly simple projects and task lists in my Teamer.com account. But if I'm going to be bringing somebody in to do work on a specific account for me or for a specific client, they're going to get much more specific task lists. So I think that's another benefit of templates. You could potentially make templates based on who's going to be doing the work. And if, like you said, if you start simple, it's much easier to then, as you grow and bring on more help and more junior help, to fill in those extra steps and start to solidify things out. So I think
the way I think about it is, I bet everybody's gone on vacation at some point, and due to all the fires going on back in the office, you're constantly checking in and calling in and checking your email, right? Mm-hmm. What templates and checklists in general will do for you is they'll just streamline your business and systemize your business, and then you can go on vacation in confidence, knowing, checking in, just looking, seeing that everything's running like clockwork, and you can spend more your time on a kind of higher level of activity. So helping scale the business, helping take on bigger clients, whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. So I think as much as the draw would be there to focus exclusively on the scaling and the profitability and everything, I think definitely make sure that you've spent plenty of time in the grow phase and focused on getting everything organized, building out these templates and systematizing your business as well as you can. So Though it's a lot more fun to talk about the scale phase. So let's dive into that a little bit. What can we do with teamwork.com to better understand where we are with profitability? Maybe figure out like whether we're charging enough and how to use these tools to the best of their ability.
Yeah, so you're probably not charging enough. It's typical anyway. You should be getting a healthy amount of rejection if you are charging enough, right? So when we ran an agency, one of the biggest mistakes we were making as we scaled, as we were super successful, is we just weren't charging enough, and we were just running on crazy. One day we doubled our prices, and it meant that yes, we were getting rejected on maybe 20% of projects that we would have taken before, but we were no longer the busy fool, and we were just far much more successful. And there's an element of experimentation. We also talk in the book about offering a menu of extras that are easy for you to serve is a nice way to enhance your profitability. Lots of little tips like that in the book. But scaling is ultimately about not, it's very easy to make your agency bigger and bigger, to take on bigger and bigger projects and to feel successful. But when you stop and look at your profits at the end of the year, the profits just aren't there. And you're not able to pay yourself. You're not able to ultimately sell the agency someday. And you're kind of going nowhere, right? Even though everything looks hunky-dory. So you really have to get on top of profits. It was really interesting when we were a web agency, we stumbled on the fact that our graphic designers were treating small projects exactly the same as big projects. They were putting like 5 days design into big projects, but also putting 5 days design into small projects. And we had never really stopped and kind of calibrated and told them that, hey, if we want these small projects to be profitable, you can actually only afford to spend 1, maybe 2 days on design. And these big projects, you can afford to spend 10 days on designs and things like that, right? When you start looking at your profitability and your unit costs, it can be transformational to you actually having profits at the end of the year and you actually being able to take your agency to the next level. Now, Teamwork unlocks that for you because as soon as you start time tracking, we already have your costs in there. We already have your estimates in there. We can generate reports for you to tell you like who are your most profitable people, which types of projects are the most successful, which category of projects did you just stop, where are you making the most money, which months are your most profitable, where do you typically have lulls, do you have the capacity to take on a big project or not, are you overstacked, which of your people are the most underutilized, which are the people that are the bottlenecks, which areas of the company are your bottlenecks. There's just a world of reports that Teamwork can give you.
Yeah, which are all incredibly helpful. And I think that you've got this in the right order. So obviously, for if we think about an agency starting, the most important thing is just we'll get clients and do the work.
Yep.
And then, as they grow, they have to focus on getting organized or they won't be able to do that first step anymore. But then this scaling, if they really want to take it to the next level, you've got to start paying attention to, how much time is going into each different client's work and based on the scope of the project. And that was one thing that really hit me
definitely.
a while back. And I recognized this in setting up my Teamwork account for myself and my own business. I was like, oh man, I am spending, I'm feeling anxious that I haven't touched all these clients this month, and I need to spend more time on this client. But then I looked at how much time I was actually putting into it. I'm like, oh, this very small project is getting just as much time.
And you may need to fire a client, right, to ultimately scale. You may find that some projects are a huge time sink and you just don't want to take them on. You may naturally be good at a certain type of project as well, based on your DNA, right? So we can help you see all that. It's very, very common that as you scale, you are dragging along a cohort of clients and different types of work you do that you outgrow, that you aren't very good at, and you're trying to be everything to everyone. So we can help you see where you need to focus and just get laser organized.
Yeah, and that laser.
Another thing, sorry to interrupt you, Ryan.
No, you're good.
This is the other point I was trying to remember a second ago, right? The fastest growing agencies are all focused at least 50% of all their income on retainer work.
Yeah.
Right. And when you start in agency land, that's hard to get used to, right? And to have the confidence to get really focused on retainers. What we found out there is that there is no project management platform that does a good job of managing retainers. So Teamwork is aiming to be the only platform in the world that really gets inside agencies' heads, understands the most common way of doing retainers, and gives you everything you need. So you can You can really manage retainers. You can top up retainers. You can manage retainers in a different way. You can have hours roll over or not roll over. We want to work with all the different agency types. We've got pretty good retainers in there right now, but the next iterations that are coming out are taking it to the next level again. But it is the key to unlocking your long-term success if you really want to scale your agency.
Yeah, well, that really excites me because I generally have worked with agencies in my consulting that are either just starting to offer PPC services and much more retainer based services versus project based website design and things like that. And there's always whatever they're using, there was always a problem with it. So I'm like, okay, if you really want to start doing this ongoing work and really empower your PPC team, you're going to have a different tool with different functionality that supports that retainer-based work. And teamwork has always been my favorite for that. So is there anything you can share about some of these future changes that are going to be coming for the retainer?
Oh, we've a world of stuff coming. We've got proofing coming. So proofing is out in test with a lot of our early access customers. So, you do proofing every day, right? We want to build it straight into the platform. All the most common things you do just to get work done, we want to streamline everything by having it built into the platform. So a lot of people come to teamwork.com for the project management, but then they soon find out, and we're very focused on that, but they soon find out there's much more to teamwork than that. So we actually have a CRM so you can get the work. You have the project management so you can plan the work and do the work. We've help desk then so you can actually collaborate with your customers. And we've got this really deep integration across everything. So, for example, when a ticket comes in, you can create a task on the ticket. You can log your time. Everything gets tracked together. You can see the profitability at a high level. So, typically our customers, they're using 10 different products out there just for the same job that Teamwork can do out of the box in one seamless platform with all your security and everything done. So, yeah, there's loads coming down the tracks, loads of improvements on the overall UI, the UX. We're just about to drop a major update to our tasks, which I'm super excited about. We've been working on it for 6 months. And our goal is to leapfrog all the project management tools out there in terms of having that core task management experience just be the best in the industry. Because that really is kind of like a foundational part of the entire platform. You've got to have great day-to-day management for what we call the worker bees. So we're trying to serve the worker bees, make their job really easy. They come in, they know exactly what to do, and they get it done, and there's no confusion, and there's not a lot to learn. We're trying to help project managers see the big picture of everything they need, get the project done. We're trying to help the CEOs and the head of operations really get on top of the retainers, the profitability, the budgets, and then beyond all that, to give them all the tools they need to be super successful. So you're going to see version 3 of retainers and budgets dropping. You're going to see massively improved time tracking dropping. You're going to see overhauls of our iOS apps and desk apps or desktop timers. You're going to see proofing is literally just about to be released, which I'm super excited about, and lots more that I can't tell you about yet.
I'm excited. That's awesome. So much coming down the line here.
I should say as well, we also have a really good knowledge base that kind of ties everything together, Teamwork Spaces. And one of the key features I love about our knowledge base is we got this feature called required reading. So it's very typical that you throw out documentation, onboarding guides, whatever it is, and nobody reads it. Right. So when we designed Teamwork Spaces, we were like, how can we get people to actually consume content? So we came up with this idea that I haven't seen anyone else do called required reading. So you can say that these pages of your manual, your onboarding guide, your training, whatever, are required reading. And it kind of guides your staff or your customers, whoever, through all the pages, and they have to acknowledge that they've read each one. But it makes it really streamlined and simple. And if your staff go on holidays and you've improved some SOPs, they can go back in there quickly and catch up very quickly.
Wow.
So it's pretty nice, and it's all integrated together again. So you can link it to projects and all the permissions they're done and so on.
Yeah, I can see that being really beneficial for client onboarding as well. Cause I don't know how many times I've sent out a questionnaire or onboarding survey, and it's just like, yeah, we'll just, I filled out 3 of the questions, and we'll just figure out for the rest.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's another thing. We're trying to bring your clients into it, right? So when we were an agency, we loved the idea that our clients had visibility into projects. So you don't have to do this, but we like the idea of leaving them into the platform with limited access. So they don't have to be badgering us every day to understand the status of the projects. They can literally see it's coming together. We can have private tasks. We can have public tasks. We can have dependencies. We can have contractors in there, and they only see what you want to see. We've got this impersonate feature, so you can make sure that your contractors and your client literally see only exactly what you want them to see, which I don't think anyone else has. And we free access for clients as well, because we don't want to charge you to bring your clients in there. We want
Right.
you to be super successful.
That is awesome. I've used the impersonate feature. Actually, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's so great that it's easy to bring somebody in. They don't have to pay to be a part of it. You don't have to pay for them to jump in. It's just all about making it easy. Well, I'm really excited for that. There's another feature that I wanted to ask about that
Yep.
I hadn't. I don't know if I just hadn't noticed it or if it wasn't there last time. I was spending a lot of time helping agencies work in teamwork.com, but I noticed the automate feature.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what you can use the automate feature for and how this can benefit in further streamlining the project management?
Yeah, so we have a full team working on the automate feature, and it's all based on what client service companies are asking us for, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is when events happen in teamwork or externally, we can trigger other events and you can cascade them all together, right? So, for example, you could have when a trouble ticket comes in from a customer, that we automatically generate a response or we create a task, or when you complete a task, it could kick off another task to do a review. When you drag something into a column, because we have different Kanban views, it could trigger a notification. We can send off, when you complete milestones of a project, it can trigger an email to the client. When the health status of a project drops below a level, it can notify the appropriate people. There's so many triggers we have. There's thousands of triggers in there, and we're continually improving it and refining it based on your feedback. And like the team have this huge backlog. There's lots of external integrations as well, so when something happens in HubSpot, which is a huge platform used by a lot of our customers. So we're going to all in with HubSpot with the deep integration.
Yeah.
So listen to our customers. If any of you guys out there have ideas on how we can improve that integration, we'd love to hear it. We've already got a lot of research we've done, and we're tripling down on that integration. But when different things happen in HubSpot, we can automate a lot of events happening within Teamwork and vice versa, which I think is super exciting. We don't want this brittle integration. We want this like super tight integration across the two platforms.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So it was already streamlined to be able to have this robust project management with, all of the recurring tasks or dependencies and interlinked tasks and everything. But to have the automation, that just opens up a whole world of possibilities. I'm thinking, based on project health, if you have an auditing task list or something, just being, health is low, audit this account.
Yep.
And you don't have to set up those, ongoing audit schedules that maybe you hope will be enough.
And it's no code, right? It's a kind of point and click environment, which you can, not be too technical. You can model some pretty complicated workflows. You can match, every business is slightly unique in how they do things. So you can match whatever makes sense for your business with our workflows, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So there are rare cases where I've run into a particular workflow where I'm like, oh man, I can't actually build the right task list for this because there's too many if this then that's. And
Yeah.
so we would end up with like 2 or 3 different task lists. And it's like, okay, well, sometimes you'll use this and sometimes you'll use this, which is nice to have because it's still quick to just import a task list template.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think those automations are going to take this to the next level.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You remind me, like there's lots of, we really listen to customer feedback, right? We always did. We were very customer centric from when we were an agency. But we did some things I think are pretty smart that not every project management app does, right? Such as, you can assign a task to multiple people or an entire team because not many project management apps have that feature, right? Only a few. Yeah. Because you don't care who does it often, right? As long as it gets done, the client needs the logo updated, whatever it is, right? You just want somebody on the team to do it. A lot of project management apps, you have to pick a specific person. Whereas we've applied a lot of common sense into the core of our platform that I think people appreciate.
I do love that. There's so much that you can do for whatever you have to do, which is why it makes such a good fit for agencies where, 2 agencies could be serving the same type of client with the same type of work and operate in completely different ways.
Yeah. Actually, Ron, I don't know, that reminds me, but last year we created a free website called Instant Agency Tools. And our idea was like, hey, let's create a lot of free tools that like we'd like to use ourselves, give us value, but we could just give free out to the industry to raise awareness about us. We really admire how HubSpot did that with their free tools. We're doubling down on that. So if you want to check out instantagentstools.com, you will really like some of our weekly meeting stuff, our stuff for modeling the organization, our people analyzers and all this. You're going to see we're going to dropping a minutes tool on that. So when you're having a meeting with someone, you'll be able to take like super simple minutes. So you can actually store a nice record of it. And it syncs the tasks back to Teamwork, that's going to be dropping pretty soon. I think you're going to love that. Like, so you should never have a meeting with anyone without taking nice minutes, and then it streamlines everything back to Teamwork. So check it out, Instant Agency Tools.
Heck yeah, I'm going to put that in the show notes, and I'm going to dig through it.
I should say as well, a lot of our, we recommend in our book that when you get to the scale phase, that you look at EOS operating system. So a lot of agencies know it already, Entrepreneurial Operating System, the book called Traction. But it's a really common sense guide to how to scale, how to put the systems in place that your company needs to scale, right? We think of it as the scaffolding for your company. There's 2 tools in it in particular that are very good: the Vision Traction Organizer and the weekly meeting, which they call the L10 meeting, right? On Instant Agency Tools, we have completely free tools for those 2 parts of the book, parts of the system. So I think you'll like it.
That's awesome.
If you're a fan of EOS, you're going to love Instant Agency Tools.
Yeah, I've gone through it multiple times with multiple agency clients, so it's been great to learn through their experiences and apply it to my own business. So, oh man, okay. So, what as you've been growing and developing and expanding and improving Teamwork.com over the years, what have kind of been your favorite parts to use for yourself or see others using, and what has garnered the most community feedback?
Oh, there's so much. Every time we release a major thing, we get so much feedback. I'm very proud of our help desk. And like I actually built the help desk myself in the early days, right?
Wow.
In New York, working like 80-hour weeks. They don't let me program anymore, but I'm particularly proud of it. And I'm particularly proud of the deep integration between our help desk and Teamwork Core, right? Because I don't know of any other 2 products that work so closely like that and provide so much value when you're using them together. And I just think how we taught that interaction is really well thought out, and it works really well. So if you're using Teamwork, I'd encourage you to check out our help desk. I don't think we do enough to actually tell people about it, if I'm honest. I think that's something we need to work on. But it is really powerful. There's so much more. We're building out reports now. So like the biggest thing people are saying to us is Teamwork is awesome, but we want more reports. The reports we're building out, that we've built out over the last year, we're getting great feedback on. You can customize them, design them. You can also have it trigger emails. So you don't have to go dig for the report. It can just email you the report every week. We know a lot of CEOs of agencies don't actually like logging into their project management tools, which is kind of strange. They want the data to come to them. So we're working on that, and that you already have that, and there's more coming. What else? I'm very proud of the retainer feature, because we went out and we talked to everybody, and we did loads of research based off our experience, based off talking to literally hundreds of agency owners. We have designed an excellent retainer system. Version 1 of it's released. Version 2 is literally landing. Version 3 is in testing. I really think we're going to have the best retainer system in the world. The only companies out there that offer any sort of retainer management in the project management realm are all kind of like designed by accountants. They're so complicated. You would need like a degree in the software to use it, right? We were trying to how do we solve this really complicated thing, but make it really easy? So I'm particularly proud of that.
Oh yeah. Anytime you can simplify something that's complicated, it's helpful for agency owners, because most of the time we don't want complicated. We just want to do the thing. So that is exciting. I can't wait to see what is going on with version 3 there.
Yeah, I think as well, you're going to love any Teamwork customers on the call. We have been, I don't know if you noticed, but we have redesigned the app in the last year, right? So the design has moved to the left-hand side. We've modernized the whole thing. We have been kind of rebuilding the airplane while we've been flying it, right?
Yeah.
And we've kind of reskinned the whole thing with this new framework, this new architecture. I'm really proud of actually the thinking that went into that, like trying to figure out how we could keep everything moving, but modernize it so that we can leapfrog our competitors in terms of UI UX. I think we've figured out an excellent way to do that. And I'm really excited about the new tasks UI UX I mentioned already that's dropping in the next few weeks. I think it takes that kind of initial perception that, oh, there's a lot to learn in here. We've streamlined the entire interface down, so new people coming on board will feel like they don't have a lot to learn, that it's really simple. But when you want power, it's one click away. So we put
Yeah.
so much thought into that.
Yeah, it's already impressive the changes that have happened, over the last. I think I've been using it for about 6 years now, 6 or 7. The changes that have happened in just the time that I've been using it. Really
Yeah,
excited to see the new changes coming down the line. If it's
yeah,
going to
like
streamline
it's not an easy thing to do, to massively overhaul the UI UX of your app while keeping everything working, right? And you
yeah,
also we're also very conscious that we don't want to just drop a completely new experience on top of our users in the morning and they're kind of like, what is this? So we have to like slowly roll out every piece, get feedback, and make sure it's good. I think we've done a really good job of that. I don't think it's smart that we drop Teamwork 4.0 and it's a completely new UI UX and everyone's freaking out and we're missing features. I know other software companies do that. I don't think that's a good way to run your business. I don't think that's a good way to run support. So yeah, really proud of how we figured out an elegant way to bring customers with us and roll out super new designs step by step. So yeah, so our goal is by the end of this year, we'll have overhauled the entire application. So our goal is to have just the best UI UX of any app in the space, coupled with the best features for agencies in the world.
wow. Well, I think the way that you're talking about it and rolling it out, I think people don't like change and they don't want to have to learn on a completely new platform. Um, so I think that it makes a lot of sense how it's planned out, and excited to see these changes throughout the year. Wow. So big question then, in kind of in parallel to the last question. Maybe you touched on this already a little bit, but what's one of the biggest things that people miss when they start working with teamwork.com? Something that could really help them that they're not necessarily taking full advantage of.
Yeah, I think people launch in and they don't read any of the guides, and like a lot of our guides are relatively new, right? So we, after talking to one agency owner 2 years ago, the feedback was, wow, there's a lot in teamwork. I don't know where to begin, right? So we made an agency quick start guide. So it's
Nice.
completely free. You can download it in the resources of our website. And I think we also emailed to you when you start as well. If you follow that guide, it kind of gets you to some initial success pretty quickly. It shows you how to set rates for your people, how to just track some billable time, how to get some tasks in there, how to complete them, how to see the bird's eye view, what's going on. So we really kind of, if you follow that guide, you will be off to a flying quick start. We've just released something called Teamwork Academy. So if you follow Teamwork Academy, it's going to kind of quick start you on your success as well and make sure your people get off to a flying start. In the last 2 years as well, we started kind of an onboarding program. Now it's a paid onboarding program, but the customers that take the paid onboarding program are something like 50% more successful than the ones that don't. And
Wow.
I think it's because they commit to the platform first of all, but it's also because our onboarding team are amazing at actually really learning your business and setting everything up the right way, so that you can have huge success from the get-go. And kind of helping with your planning as well. We find that with any project management platform, there's often resistance to using new tools, right? So we kind of help you with that change management piece. How do you sell this internally? There's a bit of carrot and stick required. So you need to sell them the vision for this is going to make their life easier, but you also need to insist that, look, this is the way we're going. So we kind of help you with all of that. How'd you plan it out? How'd you roll this out team by team? If you try and drop a system like Teamwork or any complex system like this, sophisticated system, I should say, on a large company, in one big go, it's going to be a disaster. What you need to do is find your champions, find your best teams, and step by step roll this out team by team. So we can help you with that, or you can figure it out yourself and you can read our book and we'll give you some advice on that as well. So
Wow.
what we're really trying to be is we're trying to be partners for your success. So I love this saying, like we say you don't need software, you need teamwork. And what we mean is we want to be your partners. We will actually give you the blueprint how to be successful. We'll give you the book. We'll give you the training. We'll give you the webinars. It's all there. You can ask us. We've got years of experience. So just reach out if you're stuck and we'd be happy to help.
Now that's cool. I didn't know that was something you guys did. So I've worked with a lot of agencies over the years, and I've noticed that one of the biggest problems, no matter what platform they're using for project management or for any sort of client work organization internally, is they struggle with adoption of the platform. They can't even get their team to go through a checklist, let alone, like marking off tasks and tracking time. And I've seen all sorts of different methods to get people to time track, from like, well, we just won't pay you, or which is not really something that most people do.
So that's interesting. We previously only had kind of like start-stop time tracking and teamwork, right? You could start a timer, end a timer, right?
Right.
Then we did a load of research and we found that out a lot of people don't work that way. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. Mm-hmm. So how do we make time tracking as painless as possible for your people? So there's multiple ways. We have desktop timers, we have Chrome timers, we have in-product task timers. You can free log time. And ultimately there's a timesheet that they can check at the end of the week to make sure, they've logged their 30 hours or whatever it is on actual billable projects. So we're doing everything we can to make it easy for whatever way your people work. But we feel that time tracking is critical if you want to be a successful agency. And there's nobody likes time tracking. So how do we make it as painless as possible for everybody is what we're trying to do at Teamwork. And we can help you with some thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I love that that you both have the onboard and the integrations for time tracking. So now some people, they want to use Harvest or Clockify or whatever, and it makes it easy to use whatever you're already using. I have seen, so I have struggled with time tracking just as much as the next guy. I'm just like, oh, I forgot to do that, which is nice to be able to go back and manually enter the time. But I have seen a CEO that literally was so good at time tracking that he was down to like, he would track like 2 minutes on this project and then switch to 3 minutes on this project, and then hour and a half on this. It was nuts. All my respect for that guy. But
that does remind me something. So many heard from customers, like templates are the absolute key to your success, but you can go too far with it, right?
Yeah.
So like we've had customers that just break the templates down to too micro a level. So there's a certain amount of detail you add to your templates to just streamline everything. You add subtasks, you add descriptions, links to files, whatever it is, right? You can take that too far and it actually ends up bogging down your business. So we can actually advise you on that. What level is just the right amount.
Yeah. Well, and I guess putting a bow on my thought that I don't think I even continued talking about earlier. So with this onboarding that you guys offer assistance with, I think that it's easy to think as an agency, oh well, I know how to get into a new project management software, or I know how to set this up. Take advantage of Teamwork.com's expertise and their experience helping lots of other agencies. It's kind of insight into what other agencies are doing to a degree. So you get a little competitive advantage and spy work, but also there's so much that you may not be thinking about when setting this up. So I think it's well worth working with them to get their help, because that adoption piece, especially, any tips and tricks that you can provide to agencies, it's going to revolutionize their experience versus trying to get everybody to do something on their own.
Yeah, I would add to that. Read the book, right? The book came out maybe 2 months ago. It's not a big book. We're going to keep iterating on it, but it's got 20 years of experience crammed into an easy read in a easy to digest framework. You don't have to stick to it religiously. You can chop and change, but it's a nice blueprint you can follow to scale your agency. And it is exactly, the systems in that book are exactly what the most successful agencies do to be super successful.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm going to link to that in the show notes as well. So just anything and everything we've talked about, which has been a lot. There's some really good stuff I will link to. And I think that probably puts a wrap on our time here. Peter, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure. I'll just say to any of your listeners who are, struggling with a Asana, ClickUp, Monday, you're struggling because they're generic project management platforms, or, if you're using the PPM solutions that are just too complex and your worker bees are just struggling and hating it, Teamwork has the sweet spot. We've got your back. We'll help you be successful, and come on over.
Yep. Do it for you. Do it for your team. Do it for your clients. You'll be happy you did.
Cheers, Ryan.
Cheers.